the back boundary of a site can be located quite accurately, provided you have the house footprint down and you've been on site and measured distances from a convenient point. You want two distances from, say, the house footprint across to one corner and another two distances on the right-hand side in this example. And you've created here a couple of triangles. So with those triangles, we can then swing a couple of circles that where they intersect will define this point of the boundary, and another two circles to define that point. So our drawing colour is magenta. Let's change it to some other colour. We'll change it to yellow, and we'll draw our first circle. We'll work on this point here. So draw a circle, centre radius, and we'll locate the start point of the circle, the centre of the circle, by an end point. So if we come over here to Entity Snap, pick End, and we've now latched on to the end of that line, or the corner of there, and so we want 15117, 15117 for the radius of that circle. Now let's change our drawing colour to magenta, will do, although I probably should have changed to another colour because I've got magenta being used for the back boundary, which is not yet in, but I've left it in to indicate to you what we're about to draw. So I digress. We want another circle. Draw circle, centre radius. Again, we snap to a point on the house footprint, so we snap to there, and we want 19752, 19752, and we now have a point of intersection for the back corner of the property. Let's do two more. We'll do one more magenta circle while we have it set. Circle, centre radius. We'll click at that point, and we need 21529, 21529, and we hit enter. And our final circle, where we'll swing back to yellow as our drawing colour, and right click and repeat circle, and we'll pick this time that corner of the house, and we want 17207, 17207. These, of course, are distances that you measured on your mud map. Let me now eliminate that back boundary because you wouldn't have it. You've been on site, jotted down these measurements, come back to your CAD station, put the circles in as we've done. Now to pick that back boundary, we can say now we're just drawing by layer, so draw a line from the intersection of those two circles to the intersection of these two circles, and we're done. Now we can remove all of the circles which were essentially construction lines, and we can remove these which were there for me to give you some guidance. So now we have the house footprint and an accurately determined back boundary. Now the next phase of the task would be to drop some lines from here down, and we need to pick up side boundaries. And to get the side boundaries accurately, what I'll just do is draw another line from the end of here, and I'll put ortho on and come down like so. One would go on site and measure the distance from this wall to the side boundary, and then offset that line by the defined distance, and do the same here, offset there, and that would give us the side boundaries. And our site is now accurately defined. The existing tree is in position, and we're ready to start putting some design elements in. Well, we'll return to our notebook and find that over here on the left-hand side of the drawing, the boundary, which appears to be parallel to the wall of the house, is 2044. So we need to offset, and I've made this little line red so you can see it. So I'm going to select that line, modify, and offset. The through point will be 2044. So you right click at that point, click distance 2044, 2.044. meters, and then just indicate the side. So there's a line running through there that is offset the appropriate distance. So now we can draw a line from the end of the back boundary that we set up accurately, and then to the end of this little red line that we just offset. That's really, in a sense, a construction line. So now the boundary is in, the left boundary is in. We'll get rid of that dimension, and we can probably get rid of that red line there now that we've got things accurately done. We could use the match property, modify match properties, and match the property of that white line, and they now to the red line, and they are now being drawn in the foreground colour. We have a slightly different problem over here. This boundary on the right-hand side slopes a little. It's not parallel to the edge of the house footprint. We measured 1295 as the offset, but we need a position right there. That's the distance we measured from the corner, exact point of the fence. So again, it's offset. So modify, offset. We pick the red line, right-click, and you can see that the distance is 2044. That's recalled from the previous one. So if we click back to through point and then right click again and now reset that, we want 1295. 1295 and OK it and indicate the side. So we click it and we're done. So we can exit from there. So the offset command is really powerful, but you do need to practice using it so that you can set distances quite easily. Finally, we need to draw the line from that end there to that end point. So it's draw line, I use an entity snap, pick up that end point, entity snap, pick up that end point, and exit from there. I'll match properties again. This line is not needed because the boundary on the right hand side goes at a slight angle, but to keep things tidy I'll just use match properties and match the properties of those lines. Right click and zoom extents. So our house footprint's down, the boundaries are accurately placed, a tree that sits on site has accurately been put into position, and we can start thinking about our design for this space. Where is north? Where are the slopes? And what design elements are we going to include in this design?